Hi, this is StoryFilm, and today, I am going to tell a story about the 2019 American fantasy adventure comedy film called Jumanji: The Next Level. Before we begin, get yourself something to eat and drink, find a comfortable place, and enjoy the story. The film begins 3 years after Spencer, Fridge, Bethany, and Martha destroy Jumanji. After graduating from high school, they have their own lives, but still keep in touch in a group chat and plan to meet up again in Brantford over the holidays. However, Spencer has had a harder time adjusting to his new life in New York. He struggles every day and barely makes ends meet with his job. He also broke up with Martha because of his insecurities. One day, he returns home with his mother and meets his stubborn grandfather Eddie, who is staying with them temporarily. At night, Spencer talks to Grandpa Eddie about his friends and how things have worked out for him, and how he hopes to be someone capable of anything.
Can I give you a little advice? This is the best time of your life. Pull it together because it doesn't get any better than this. It's all downhill from here.
Later, Spencer reminisces about his time in Jumanji and Bravestone. He then goes to the basement, where he takes out the console he saved, along with the damaged game cartridge. It turns out Spencer can't forget how fun to be the Rock. The next morning, Fridge, Martha, and Bethany meet for brunch at Nora's restaurant as they planned. In the meantime, Grandpa Eddie is visited by his old friend, Milo Walker, though Grandpa Eddie is less than pleased to see him.
Good.
Meh.
What do you mean, meh?
After waiting for Spencer, who still doesn't show up, the three friends go to his house. Grandpa Eddie recognizes Fridge from when he and Spencer were kids, and he lets them in. Fridge also knows Milo, since Nora's restaurant used to be called Milo and Eddie's, as the two ran a restaurant together before Milo sold it to the new manager, which caused the rift between him and Eddie. They go looking for Spencer until they hear the unpleasant drumbeats of Jumanji.
You hear something?
It's probably the heater, it's broken.
Unbelievable what they heard. They go to the basement where they see that Spencer once tried to fix the console back and realize, for whatever that reason is, he has gotten back into the game. Martha is quite aware that Spencer can't possibly finish the game on his own, which means they have to come in and help him.
Are you crazy?
I'm coming with you.
Are you out of your mind?
As if to know they want to play, the game then begins to pull them in without choosing their avatar, but only Bethany is left behind. Martha finds herself in the jungle once again as her avatar Ruby Roundhouse.
Oh, it's her.
She then notices Dr. Smolder Bravestone and thinks it is Spencer.
Spencer.
Spencer? What the hell is this?
Oh my God. You're Spencer's grandfather.
Yeah, no kidding.
To make matters worse, Milo has also joined the game as Mouse Finbar.
What in tarnation? Where am I?
While Fridge has become Shelley Oberon, which makes him depressed even more.
This can't be happening!
Martha and Fridge then explain to Grandpa Eddie and Milo that they are in a video game.
Huh?
Martha saves Eddie from being eaten by a hippo, but when Fridge explains this to them, he gets eaten by a large snake and loses one of his lives. The group then sees a plane in the sky, which is weird to Martha and Fridge. It turns out that the pilot of the plane is Nigel, the NPC they have met before, who then explains the latest Jumanji adventure to them.
It's all detailed in the letter I sent you, Dr. Bravestone. Perhaps you should read it aloud.
Do you have a letter?
Why would I have a letter?
Because Nigel here, he wrote you a letter.
I didn't get a letter from this guy. We're gonna die.
We did die.
Are we in hell?
I knew it.
Oh my God.
I don't have a letter. How many times I gotta tell you that?
In your hand.
Where did this come from?
You got to pay attention to what's in your hand.
A sinister warlord named Jurgen the Brutal has stolen the Falcon Jewel, which provides growth to the land in Jumanji, but has now caused a drought in its absence. Jurgen is also the man who killed Dr. Bravestone's parents when he was a child. The group must retrieve the jewel and hold it up to the sun to save Jumanji.
Who is Jumanji?
Well, if I was listening correctly, that is her sister.
After Nigel gives them a map, he drops the group off in the desert to begin their quest. Meanwhile, in the world of reality, Bethany still can't get in before she thinks of someone who could help her. Back to the gang, they found a stranded buggy car. An ostrich then comes by, and Milo uses Mouse's zoological knowledge to bring up info on the bird. Unfortunately, like any old man at his age, he's too slow to explain that ostrich is dangerous, as Grandpa Eddie finds out when he gets chomped and dies after trying to confront it.
Did I just kill Eddie by talking too slow? Like he always said I would.
Grandpa Eddie returns to the game with only 2 bars of life left. From a distance, they saw what looked like a sandstorm before realizing it was a herd of ostriches. Whether they like it or not, they have to board one of the buggies to drive away from there.
Beat it!
Grandpa Eddie drives the group off a cliff to avoid the ostriches, but they just barely make it to the other side of the cliff.
We're gonna make it. No, we're not! I don't think we're gonna make it! We're gonna make it! We're not gonna make it!
After provoking the ostriches and annoying them about how great he is shown by Martha how to access his abilities. All the same as before, except there is now one weakness that says Switchblade.
You okay? You having a heart attack? His whole left side is shutting down. Eddie, look at me.
Curious, Martha sees her abilities and there is one addition to her strength, which is nunchucks. For Milo, his avatar has one additional ability, linguistics.
The study of languages.
Makes sense. He studies the entire language on his way to the point.
Unfortunately for Fridge, who is trapped in Shelly's body, he's got an extra ability like the others but with 3 new weaknesses.
Heat, sun, and sand. Shouldn't be a problem. It's not like we're in the middle of the goddamn desert or anything.
He then tries to build endurance, which is undoubtedly impossible for him. The group continues the journey to the oasis where Nigel has instructed them to go to find a fruit called the desert berry. In town, a mysterious woman tries to seduce Grandpa Eddie and lead them to Jurgen and his goons with the jewel locked in a box. Suddenly, all the lights go out. A woman thief steals the key to the jewel, but is stopped by Grandpa Eddie as she tries to escape. Martha realizes that she is Spencer in a woman's avatar the way he speaks before Jurgen kills him. They find him revived outside and Spencer is shocked to see them here.
Bethany?
Not Bethany Fridge, goddammit!
He explains to them that he missed the feeling of being Bravestone, who can do anything, unlike himself in the real world, which makes him go inside willingly. Instead of becoming Bravestone, which he hopes for, he finds himself in a new avatar, a specialist for stealing with pollen as his weakness.
Another better character.
Afterward, the group is found by a mysterious woman earlier who turns out to be Bravestone's ex. She warns him that Jurgen wants to trade the jewel with brothers Kababik to form an alliance and must retrieve the jewel before that happens. She then kisses Grandpa Eddie, but warns him about her husband, Switchblade, which they realize is Bravestone's only weakness. She then tells them where to find the berry before running off. Fridge and Martha go off to find the berry, while Spencer and Milo go stealing camels while Grandpa Eddie keeps a lookout outside. Fridge and Martha find the desert fruit, which is called Jumanji fruit, on a tree in the middle of a glowing pool. Figuring that they can't touch the glowing water, Martha runs across to the tree where the fruit is hanging and picks it before falls into the water. As Fridge pulls her out with his feet touching the water, something happens and they switch bodies. Fridge takes a moment to admire his ruby body.
Touch my boobs and I will murder you.
Too late. It was literally the first thing I did.
And tries out her abilities, but then he falls into the pool and they switch bodies again.
Oh no, no, no! I hate being the map guy!
Back to the stealing team, Milo tries to talk to the camels, while outside, Grandpa Eddie is happily fighting with a group of street people. He is then spotted by Switchblade. The three of them then manage to get further away from the oasis by riding camels that Milo was able to talk to. They meet Martha and Fridge, who are already waiting outside the town with the desert fruit. Switchblade and his goon are after them, and Grandpa Eddie insists that he can fight them while the others urge him that they must run away.
I'm telling you, there's a time in life when you run.
But Switchblade shoots a missile that hits the whole group and takes another life from everyone.
What?
The group continues moving ahead, but Grandpa Eddie and Milo decide to continue bickering, which leads them to settle this once and for all. Milo presents his Tai Chi skill that he learned all these years but proved useless when he got one slap KO that he hits a rock and gets crushed, leading him to only have one more life.
Alright then. Well, I guess that's settled.
They continue riding until they come upon a series of bridges where Fridge begins to tell them how to cross based on the condition of the bridge, without him realizing it.
Geometry. That's what it's for! Maybe this character's not totally worthless.
A drumbeat of Jumanji is heard again, and knowing that something bad always comes after that, they quickly cross the bridge before Martha notices something moving. Knowing what it is, Milo begins his slow description of what the moving thing is when a mandrill emerges. They begin to run when more mandrills come and chase them with Fridge instructing them where to go. Martha went in the wrong direction and she was thrown to death by one of the mandrill. As Martha revives, Spencer tries to jump but fails and falls onto the bridge below with Martha on it. The two then run and swing to the other cliff while the other three are still running and Fridge accidentally breaks his ankle. Milo gets stuck on the bridge and Grandpa Eddie saves him by cutting the rope. Even as they reach the other side, they are surrounded by the mandrills, but they are scared away by the arrival of Alex, who returns as Seaplane McDonough, and Bethany, who is a horse named Cyclone. It turns out that Bethany asks help from Alex to find a way to get back into Jumanji. They all change to the warmer cloth brought by Alex. As they figure out their next plan, Grandpa Eddie goes talk with Milo. Milo reveals to him that he showed up again after so long because he has an unspecified illness, and he doesn't have a lot of time left, so he wants to spend his last precious time with the people he loves. The two finally reconcile and talks like a good old friend again. Back with the group, Fridge complained about their hopeless situation.
Is killing me!
Fridge!
Yo, you guys gotta see this!
He found a river with the same water that made Fridge and Martha swap bodies. Except for Martha and Alex, they jump into the river and reappeared with all of them in different bodies now.
Milo? You should see the size of you.
Afterward, they build a bonfire in a cave. Grandpa Eddie is now happy because he has hair after 40 years of being bald, and wants to show it to Milo. However, he and Milo are captured by Jurgen's henchmen. With 1 bar HP left for everyone except Alex, they carefully make a plan to rescue Grandpa Eddie and Milo. Fridge give climbing equipment to Spencer who will climb with Martha, while Alex, Fridge and Bethany try to sneak at main entrance. However, the guards ask Fridge and Bethany if they are Kebabic brothers. They pretend to be the brothers, and it works. While climbing, Martha discusses their relationship, but it is very silly to do that when they are in such a state and continue the climb. Alex finds Milo locked up, but he steps into the trap and revives, and got hit again the second time, which left him with 1 bar life now. Martha and Spencer manage to get in and find Grandpa Eddie, who then tells them where the jewel is. Alex finally manages to get past the trap, and when he is about to release Milo, he notices something. Meanwhile, Fridge and Bethany are taken to see Jurgen. One of the henchmen says how the older is a smart person in Jumanji, and the other brother is a brave eunuch.
Wait a minute, what?
Did you say eunuch?
He then says everyone knows the legend of the younger brother who sacrifices his tentacles to save the land from the flood.
Everybody knows the story about my little brother and his famous testicles. Wherever they may be.
Wherever they may be.
Stop saying that! Both of my balls are right here!
Fridge still wants to argue by saying his balls is still intact, but Bethany warns him that they should play along or they would be caught.
Right. I got no balls.
When they arrive, a woman offers them a cake.
No, thank you.
Back to Grandpa Eddie, he managed to open the box with his skill, but the jewel is not in it. It turns out the jewel is in Jurgen's possession when he greets the fake Kebabik brothers. He asks them about their sister, who's supposed to marry him. Fridge and Bethany, who don't know anything about that, almost got exposed, but Martha shows up just in time and pretends to be her, but one of Jurgen's men informs that the Kebabik brothers are still on their way.
Seize them!
Spencer makes an epic entrance and walks right up to Jurgen. To his surprise, he's just as strong as him, the only difference is he has a hair. Jurgen sent him flying before spotting the desert berry in Spencer's hand. For some reason, he ran away and Spencer after him. Fridge pulls a radio out of his backpack to play music for Martha to activate Ruby's dance fighting skills to fight off the henchmen. Jurgen attempts to escape on his Zeppelin with the jewel, but Spencer goes after him and fights him inside the Zeppelin. The group then arrives as the Zeppelin begins to malfunction. Spencer uses the Jumanji berry to weaken Jurgen, which he already guessed when Jurgen runs away. After a few powerful blows, Spencer tackles Jurgen out of the Zeppelin, grabs the jewel, and sends the warlord falls to his death. Milo tells Grandpa Eddie to ride him.
Oh no! Milo! Milo!
It turns out Cyclone can fly, and Spencer tosses the jewel to Grandpa Eddie, who then flies up and holds it up to the sun. The group calls out Jumanji.
Jumanji!
And the land is once again restored to normal. Nigel meets the group again as they are ready to go home. Milo, however, decides to stay in Jumanji as Cyclone, because after living for 75 years, he now knows how to fly, although Grandpa Eddie knows what the real reason is. He then says goodbye to his friend, and they all watch Milo run and fly happily into the sky.
Everybody should be so lucky to have a friend like Milo.
Come on, Grandpa. Let's go home.
Afterward, they return to the real world in the basement. Later, Spencer plays video games with Grandpa Eddie, who now appreciates that being old is a gift. The next day, Spencer and Grandpa Eddie go to Nora's restaurant to meet with Fridge, Martha, and Bethany. As Grandpa Eddie reminisces his time in this restaurant, he is greeted by a restaurant owner named Nora, who appeared to be the same Aunt Nora to Judy and Peter who took them in after their parents' death. The film ends with Spencer's mother brings a heater repairman to the basement. He sees the Jumanji console and is fascinated with it before he touches it. Thank you for watching. Like, share and comment below if you like the recap and subscribe for more video.